It has. Well, I was gonna say it's been a week, but saying it's been a week implies I did shit this week. I did not do shit this week.
Mm.
I grabbed Grand Blue
Ah,
Fantasy
yes.
Relink.
Mm-hmm.
I did play the demo, and I loved it. The
Mm-hmm.
demo was super cool. Too many fucking
Ah, yes.
characters. Holy shit! There are so many characters you
Mm-hmm.
could just choose to use because they
Mm-hmm.
have a story. They had like a story bit you could play, and then they also had like a quest bit where you could do like quests and unlock
Mm-hmm.
rewards
Yes.
because
Character
every
stuff as well.
every
Mm-hmm.
demo these days has bonuses for playing the demo, which I can,
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind. That's fine. You want to get people to play your game. That's a really good way to do it. I get it. Uh,
Yeah.
Ended up having to replace my. So okay, I went through a bit of a hassle, right? So a little background.
Mm-hmm.
My last PS5 controller, I I had a gamer moment and spilled something on it. My
Uh,
fault. Totally my fault.
whoopsie.
Like, let's be clear. I'm not blaming nobody else for this fuck up. I
Mm-hmm.
fixed it for the most part, right? The buttons mostly work the way they're supposed to, but
Mm-hmm.
the touchpad, because a lot of games make you press the
Uh-huh.
touchpad, that would stick. So
Ah.
it didn't stick badly, but it was enough to bother me. So I ended
Mm-hmm.
up trading it off, and I told them outright. I'm like, they're like, does the controller work? I'm like, yeah, test it. So I tested it. They
Mm-hmm.
approved. So I went to the store closest to where I live, and they didn't have the color I wanted, but I ended up
Mm-hmm.
just picking a color anyways. And I was like, you know what? Whatever. Controller's a controller. But
Mm-hmm.
then my OCD kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
That little part of my brain, that little part of my brain kicked in. And I'm like, I really would like a matching controller to go with my console. This is how you know I'm a child masquerading as an adult and not an adult who doesn't have the right priorities. That's how you could tell. That's the moment, CD, when you go, that is not an adult. That is a child. He is a child. I'm working with a child. So I went to a different store with my receipt, the new controller, and I explained it. I just told them the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna bullshit them. They can look at the time on the receipt and see I clearly just
Mm-hmm.
got the controller. I'm
Yeah.
like, look, I trade some stuff in. I got this controller. I didn't think the color was gonna bother me, but I would really like a color that matches my console, which is black. So can I just
Mm-hmm.
exchange it?
Mm.
Right? Like honesty's the best policy. I just told them the truth.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah.
They were super cool. They're like, yeah, we see you around enough. Don't worry about it. So I got my
Mm-hmm.
brand new black
Mm-hmm.
DualSense controller. So that's been cool. That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Feels good. This feels different than the one I had. I don't know why. This actually feels
Mm.
nicer. This has like a grip on the back of it. Like it has a different texture feel on the back of the
Hmm.
on
That's weird.
the hand here. It feels different.
Hmm.
I know this doesn't feel like mine because mine didn't have that feeling. So I don't know.
Interesting.
Maybe they changed something at some point. I just wasn't paying attention because
Mm-hmm. Yeah, might be worth the look into,
we
but
get
yeah, that might be.
we get revisions to shit without people telling
Yeah.
us all the goddamn time. I mean, technology
Mm-hmm.
changes.
I mean, the console itself also changed multiple times over the years. Like, it's now a few hundred grams lighter just because of internal changes.
Also went and continued not a lot because I've been like low energy
Mm-hmm.
lately, so it's really hard for
Mm-hmm.
me to like focus on something super long term. Like Animal
Mm-hmm.
Crossing is easy for me because
Ah.
I only really have to like mentally commit myself for like an hour or so, and that's
Mm-hmm.
easy, right? That's a very low mental commitment for me.
You don't have to concentrate much unless a spider is chasing you.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say unless I shake a tree and there's bees.
Or that.
The spider too. Spiders cause me
Mm-hmm.
existential dread, but the bees are usually what fuck me up the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So I continued Persona 3 Reload.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Reload. Mm-hmm.
gotta tell you, I love it. They did a really good job so far. there's a lot of moments that were cutscenes in Fez that are just playable now. They're just
Neat.
in-game playable.
All
Like
right.
the opening bit where the main character gets off the train station and all the weird kooky shit happens in the cutscene where there's like blood everywhere and okay, where there's like blood everywhere and there's coffins and shit. Yeah, that's playable. You walk through town now and there's coffins everywhere.
And you see the blood and the coffins
you
just
see
in the game scene. Okay, well, cool.
But I think that's also because the game looks so good with in-game rendered graphics now that it's like, do they get anything out of just animating it? I guess I don't know. Like I'm not against the idea of animating stuff, but I do think that sometimes if your in-game assets can look that good and hold up that well, is it really even worth the money to fucking, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. In comparison to back then, it's a bit more costly to animate it because it's higher res.
That too.
That's probably more costly, but
probably that's probably a good deal of the fucking problem, honestly.
maybe.
What else did I do? I did a lot of stuff this week. Got a decent amount done in 7 Remake. I'm gonna be cutting it really fucking close if I manage to fucking beat this fucking game. If I somehow manage to do it, dude, we're gonna be cutting it. We're gonna be
11 days.
Yeah, we're gonna be cutting it fucking close. It's gonna be, we're gonna be on the wire with this one. It's gonna be close. So
yeah, the counter's ticking. 11 days.
Yeah, so I'm cutting it close. I'm gonna have to like power through and toughen up and just fucking I don't know, caffeine drink my way to victory or something. I don't know. Haven't really decided. One thing I've noticed, and this is, I don't know, maybe this is just how I use my PS5. The PS5, okay, so I know power is a thing, like, you know, like power consumption, that kind of thing. I get that. And I am mindful of that. Like, I turn off like 99% of the stuff that's in our apartment when we go to bed. I will say, though, keeping that thing in rest mode is like super convenient for just like everything it does.
It does downloads and updates and everything in the background.
Yeah, or like if a demo gets dropped and I have my phone with me, I can send the demo directly to the console and it just downloads it. Like, it's moments like that where I'm like, damn, why would you ever turn this fucking thing off? It's just like, I know why you would. I'm not like, that's hyperbole, but still.
Yeah, but it's certainly nice to have the option. Yeah.
It's a very nice option. I appreciate more and more like the luxury of being able to like do something on my phone and then have that thing translate to something on the console. So like, for instance, go on the eShop on my phone for Nintendo, buy something digitally, get home, and then the game starts downloading on my Switch. Like, it's stuff like that. I appreciate those kind of conveniences, right? While maybe I don't always necessarily want to buy into the digital only future, I will say there are some perks that I tend to really enjoy with the digital side of things when they're implemented well and when I don't feel like I'm getting fleeced. Usually when I don't feel like I'm being fleeced and treated poorly by a company. As you will soon see on this podcast, there are quite a few places that feel quite violated by their company. Goodness. But yeah, that's my week. Lots of games, lots of handheld gaming, lots of sitting around and saying, I got nothing else going on. I'm gonna catch up on some Pokemon Yellow, only to put the game down an hour later and go, I fucking hate this version of the game. This is a miserable travesty. Oh, Jesus.
That's bad, huh?
Oh, God, dude. The only reason I'm playing Yellow is because... So there's a few reasons. They're mostly time-saving reasons, because if you were to like try to do 150, the complete the Pokedex via yellow,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually more inconvenient to use yellow as a
Mm-hmm.
baseline than it would be if you just played red and blue.
Okay.
Okay, so
How's
let me try to explain to you in a way that
mm-hmm.
makes sense why yellow fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with red and blue, they said, okay, certain Pokemon can only be found in red, certain Pokemon can only be found in blue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Super easy, understandable,
Yeah.
sliced. Only a handful of Pokemon in each game you can't get, maybe some trades, but other than that, it's pretty fucking easy. Barring the fucking
Mm-hmm.
starters, we'll ignore the starters because that's a fucking
Mm-hmm.
nightmare and a half. Yellow said, well, we don't want to make red and blue not worth playing, so we're going to have our yellow version not have random Pokemon from red version and random Pokemon
Mm-hmm.
from blue version are just not available in this game, and then a few other random Pokemon that just don't make a goddamn fucking sense at all for them not to be there. It actually makes
Mm-hmm.
the game worse. So if you wanted to use yellow as your
So you
completion game,
effectively need all three.
you would need all three. It's
Mm-hmm.
fucking terrible and I fucking hate it.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know. Did they do that with other generations?
No.
Did other
I mean,
generations even have three?
I have to check Crystal. Crystal's weird
Mm-hmm.
cuz Crystal is like I'd have to look up Crystal, which is gold, silver, crystal, third game in that in
Mm-hmm.
generation
Ah,
2.
yeah.
I'd
Mm-hmm.
have to look that one up because that one changes Pokemon locations so heavily
Ah,
from the
okay.
base games. It changes that
Mm-hmm.
so heavily that it's really hard to quantify all the
Mm-hmm.
things they did to it. So I'd have to like actually look into it to be sure.
All right.
So, okay,
That's interesting.
fine. Why would you play yellow? Is what you're probably asking me then, right? Like, why, if yellow sucks
The
this
thought might
bad,
come to mind.
there are like technically two reasons why you'd play yellow. The first reason is
Hmm?
that yellow makes getting all three starters insanely easy because you can get all
Hmm.
three of them in the game without too much hassle. So Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, they're all obtainable in yellow. So for me at least, that eliminates me having to restart blue version two extra times
Hmm.
to get those starters and then move them to my red. I don't have to do that anymore. I could just play through yellow.
Hmm.
Two, there's one Pokemon I need to make evolve 3 times.
Hmm.
It gets a different evolution per stone you use on it, and it has 3 evolutions. So I have to
Ah.
get 3 copies of that Pokemon. So I have one in
Hmm.
red,
That was that
Eevee.
Eevee?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I have one in red, I'll have one from yellow, and then I'll have to play blue a little bit to collect the last few Pokemon I'm missing. And I'll have my
Mm-hmm.
third one from that. So I'd have to do this regardless. All I'm doing is potentially cutting out resets. That's really all I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because elsewise I'd be like resetting the game after like an hour or so for trades. And I just didn't want to I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do that. I don't want this journey became way more complicated the more I got into it, because then I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this is actually really shitty. Why would anybody choose to do this? Why would anybody choose to do this? This is terrible. Why would you choose to torture yourself this way? And then I'm like, because we're gamers. That's why. We don't know any better. It's who we are. So yeah, yellow version is terrible. Don't hinge your 150 Pokemon completion journey on it. You will be greatly disappointed and angry by the time you're fucking finished. Don't do it. Your turn, CD.
Right, yeah. For me, it hasn't been much either. It's mainly being summer game development stuff, and mainly one new title came out in the idle game genre, which is mentionable. It's Civ Idle came out in early access, which that one is Essentially, what do you describe it as? Essentially, you're building up one specific city in Civilization as an idle game. Like you have your hexagons where you have your resource areas, and you can build several buildings, and they move the resources in between the buildings, and you have to balance your workers and everything like that. So far, so relatively normal, nothing that unusual. What they do be to kind of be noticed is they decided to have the UI look like it's a Windows 95 game.
Oh,
It's fun.
wow.
Yeah, and when it starts up, remember those boot screens, the BIOS screen from back then, with
Yeah.
the whole the yellow star, the EPA certified
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah,
top
yeah,
right
yeah.
corner and all. It shows that slightly modified as a loading screen for the data, and then switches into the game. And the tutorial is essentially a installation wizard where you go through the dialog boxes.
Hmm.
And most of the other UIs is themed like Windows 95, which, yeah, that's neat.
Neat.
The tech tree is their own look, but besides that, most of it is themed like that old Windows, which is, yeah, it's nice.
All right.
Yeah. Besides that, I haven't really played much this week. Just the usual looks in my other two main idle games, Melvor Idle and Unnamed Space Idle. But those have been more going on in the background. Other than that, continuing to look into Godot development, doing some more pixel art on my tablet for that. Yeah, that's been the week.
So this wasn't part of our story list additionally,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to include them because
All right.
I love one of these. I love one of these creators, and I was super
Mm-hmm.
excited last night when I saw the announcement. So a little bit of background:
This.
the streamer awards happened last night, and
Mm-hmm.
my man, my dude, Maximilian got the category award,
Legacy Award.
the
Mm-hmm.
legacy award for
Yes.
he has been at the forefront of the FGC community with his entertaining and educational streams. He earned the win for this year's legacy award. Now, I found this to be so heartwarming to see him win because during
Mm-hmm.
one of his streams before this, he was talking
Mm-hmm.
about how there was no chance he was going to win. There was like one other dude on the list. He goes, "There's no
Mm-hmm.
way I take the prize here. It's not possible." He goes,
Mm-hmm.
"I've been around, but I'm not that
Mm-hmm.
influential." He goes, "The fact I'm even a nominee is ridiculous." He goes, "There's no way." Hey, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Fucking Maximilian the fuck dude. Congratulations, my
Congrats on
dude.
that. Yeah.
Dude, I saw that. I was like, oh, fuck yes. Fuck yes, Max. Hell yeah, you earned it, dude. He's been grinding this
Mm-hmm.
platform for like over a decade. The fucking dude's a G. He deserves it. So, fuck yeah, Maximilian. Congratulations, dude. You fucking earned it. And then
Agreed.
one that I didn't even know was a category, but the
Mm-hmm.
best software and game dev streamer is Pirate Software. And you
Well
know
deserved.
what? You know what? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can have it. It's yours. I ain't arguing with you on that one, my dude. It's all yours. Fuck yeah. I find it really funny that he won because
Mhm.
he at one point he talked about how one of the big reasons why he blew up was because of his shorts. The
Yeah.
shorts on YouTube had blown up to the point to
Mhm.
where people who would have no reason to even know who he was or would even have
Yep.
interacted with the stuff that he does suddenly knew who the
Mhm.
fuck he was. And he's like, oh god, the YouTube shorts, fuck.
Uh-huh.
Oh god.
Yeah, I don't know who it was that mentioned it to him, but someone asked him, why does my what was it, son or nephew
Yeah, why does
know
he know
you?
who you are? Yeah, why does he know you? And
Mm-hmm.
the streamer awards were very quick to note in their tweet, we can confirm he did not hack the votes. So I feel fairly certain that he did in fact hack the votes. I can't prove it. I
He
can't
might
prove
just
it.
have hacked the image.
He might have hacked it. Yeah, the image by itself just
Uh,
goes, I'm so fucking guilty, but I'm gonna try not to look fucking guilty.
eh,
He's like, he's like, oh, I
Mr.
did a
Pretates.
bad.
Mr. Pretates.
Right. He's like, oh, I've done a bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have a lot of stuff that happened this week.
Quite a bit, yes.
You know what? I'll start. I'm not gonna go in order because I never go in order for these fucking
Mhm.
things. So, and news that shouldn't surprise anybody, No Man's Sky has a new has an update. I will tell you, it is as much as I think No Man's Sky is this legendary rise from the ashes moment in gaming. I will
Mhm.
also say that No Man's Sky is also the Rocky Balboa every dev seems to think that they can be, and then gets
Mhm.
immediately fucking blasted in the fucking jaw. You're not Rocky Balboa, my dude. You don't have you don't have a lower jaw made out of fucking concrete. I'm sorry.
Has only one Rocky Balboa, and that spot is taken.
Yeah. So Hello
You have
Games
to
released a
do
brand new
something really
update
big to get that.
specifically targeting new players as well as old hands. The Omega update follows on from the previous content, drops Echoes and Singularity, and it adds brand new expedition for you to tackle as well as new. Just goddamn, dude, they have done so much for this game. I feel like
Mhm.
clockwork. You
Yep.
hear about some new update or some new content push or
Mhm.
some new thing they're doing to make the game even better. I think we've made it.
Consistently, I think 4 or 5 updates per year. I think it is.
I think we're well past the thing that they promised, right? The
Hmm.
thing that they might have promised when they first pitched
I
the game.
mean,
I think they've probably got there,
I'm
right? They've
in
probably.
parts probably, in parts yes, in parts no, probably. I
I don't.
wouldn't. I would have to double check on what it was back then and
I mean,
how
these
the
guys
game
aren't.
looks now.
I mean, not to throw out a name out there, but these guys weren't Peter
Mhm.
Molyneux. I'm pretty sure they had
Mm,
Peter fucking
yeah.
Molyneux.
I mean,
Goddamn.
in some areas they definitely have gotten more than what they promised. In other areas, maybe less. Because I'm not sure if the procedural generation for the creatures and all
Oh
is
yeah,
up to what they promised. But
right.
I mean, that's natural. That was an overpromise that probably never could have been fulfilled. Because procedural
Yeah,
generation isn't really gonna do that.
yeah. That was probably one of those things that they promised.
Mm-hmm.
Like it
Yeah.
sounded cool. It sounded great on paper. And to their credit,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it did seem like something they could do. I'll give them the bit. I'll give them
They
the
were
minor
probably a
bit.
bit overly optimistic on that.
Yeah, a little bit. Tiny bit.
But in terms of multiplayer and features and everything, yeah, I'd say this has turned out pretty nice.
So, in other news, there's been a lot
Mm-hmm.
of buzz leading up to this moment for Xbox. A lot of people were
Mm-hmm.
buzzing about the Xbox brand
Yeah.
being dead, I guess. the buzz was so inconsistent. Like, some people were like, oh, the
Mm-hmm.
brand is dead, they have nothing to offer gamers. And then some people were like, oh, they're just going to become software publishers. And
Yeah.
then I just, oh my goodness, it makes me happy I don't go on Twitter anymore, to the
It's
chagrin
fun to
of
see
my
because people
to
just hype themselves or de-hype themselves or whatever one would call it. Like just doom and gloom on the one side, hype on the other side.
yeah, it's I I I I found it very interesting, especially in like my
Mm-hmm.
YouTube feed. My YouTube feed was all full of all kinds of hype mongering, and I was like, Jesus, what
Mm-hmm.
the fuck?
Everyone was trying to get the right prediction.
Yeah, everybody was trying to get the proper prediction. I don't think anyone did,
Mm-hmm.
but still everyone was trying. So
Yeah.
Xbox finally addressed it. I guess I don't know what people were really expecting from them on this. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
you could assuage the concerns of the masses or the hype of the masses. I feel like after a certain point, that snowball has
Mm-hmm.
now progressed down the hill so much that you really can't do much outside of get out the fucking way or get run the fuck over.
Mm.
Microsoft announced that it will bring 4 unnamed for now first party Xbox games to other platforms, also revealing that Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass and teasing the next generation of hardware with the largest generational technical leap ever. Okay, so there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot to chew on here. A lot to
Yeah.
chew on. I
Mm-hmm.
want to chew on the last thing first,
Okay.
because that to me is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
For a few reasons. Microsoft, you having better technology doesn't fix the problem here. Like, nobody I don't think the
Sure.
complaint here has been the Xbox Series X can't play games. Like, that isn't the thing that people have the problem with. I feel like you're missing. I feel like the point the problem that people have had with the brand isn't the fact that it can't play games. I don't think that's it. I mean, yeah, the Series S has kind of been an albatross, but that was a ball and chain you all created. So I don't really feel like creating another platform
Mm-hmm.
or talking about the next piece of hardware you're going to put out is going to break generational boundaries, is going to fix the fact that a lot of people who bought an Xbox may not feel like they have a lot of reason to.
Sure, but that's always gonna be a case when any of the two big players is gonna announce a new generation. They're always gonna tout the hardware capabilities, be it
Yeah,
Microsoft or be it Sony. It's both gonna
it's
do
it
that.
it goes both. I feel like for something like
Mm-hmm.
this, in a case where Microsoft is, I just don't know if maybe that's the angle you wanna roll.
I mean,
I feel like
I
the
mean, it's
concerns
fine for
people
this
have.
because they've been announcing games just recently, so they don't really need to go on saying, "Yeah, we're still working on games," because that's patently obvious.
Yeah. Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass. Something I
Hmm.
don't know why. I already thought that was on Game Pass. Is that maybe that was I don't know why I thought that. I don't know why. That's me.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. I fucked up. That was me. That was purely a
Hmm.
me problem. I don't know why. I mean, that's cool. That's certainly
Hmm.
surprising. Um I've always still been interested about the Game Pass model, so
Hmm.
the fact that Diablo
Yeah, and
4
they
is
did
coming
give an
to.
update about how many subscribers they have on Game Pass.
Oh, really?
Currently, it's around at the what was it? I think 34 million, something like that.
34 fucking million? Seriously?
Yep.
Jesus.
Hmm.
Okay. Shit.
Yep.
Okay.
They're progressing decently there. Because I
34
think
million.
2 years ago, I think it was the previous update, there they were at around 25 or so,
I feel like
I think.
everything that comes out these days all comes out to Game Pass. I feel like there's not
Mm-hmm.
that many games that come
A
out that
lot.
don't come
There's
out.
certainly a lot.
Yeah, like this
I mean,
I
there's a
have
lot
been
that
I have
doesn't,
been told
but it's a really good catalog.
I get reprimanded by an entire Discord every time an RPG comes out for me not having
Mm-hmm.
Game Pass. Like, I catch a reprimand from like the entire. I'm like, oh yeah, I picked it up for PS5. They're like, ew,
Mm-hmm.
ew, why would you do that? Ugh, dude, Game Pass. I'm
Yeah.
like, whatever, fuck you.
Overall, there's 527 games on Game Pass currently.
Jesus, Jesus.
And
I'm not.
obviously, with non-Microsoft titles, it's also the way that, yeah, they often go there day one, but they also exit after a while.
Ah, right.
But usually, I think they stay on there for a decent amount.
Yeah, I think so. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Shit. And then there's obviously, like I said, the 4 unannounced games that are going to be
Mm-hmm.
on other
Yeah.
platforms. Hi-Fi Rush is one of the ones that people are expecting or predicting
Mm-hmm.
is going to be that. Not gonna lie, if I saw Hi-Fi Rush on
That
Switch,
would be
that
good.
would be pretty fucking dope. That's such a
Mm-hmm.
good fucking game. If you haven't
Yeah.
played Hi-Fi Rush, it is I won't call it a budget title, but it's not a full price game by
It's a
any
smaller
means.
title, yeah.
It's a
It's a
smaller title,
smaller
but
title,
it's a
double A or
high
something like
it's
that.
a high fucking quality smaller title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
High fucking quality smaller title.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if anything's been confirmed yet, but I think the 4 rumored ones were Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Grounded, and which one was it? Uh, fourth one is escaping me right now, but those 3 I remember.
All right. So I guess I'll switch
All decent
gears.
titles.
I guess I'll switch gears from
Mm-hmm.
from Microsoft to Sony.
Mm-hmm.
In a report on a report when was it? Valentine's Day, the PS5 sales passed 55 million units.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Spider-Man 2 has sold 10 million copies.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, they're doing pretty well. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think 55 million units is anything to sneeze at, and the
Yeah.
amount of years that
That's
it's
certainly
been
fine.
so
Although
far. So
obviously, yeah. Mm-hmm.
obviously, I don't know if the adoption rate is exactly as strong as Sony might have wanted, but I think Sony also needs to take into account the fact that for like the first like 2 fucking years, barely anybody could buy one
Mm-hmm.
of these fucking things.
Yeah, and you have to wonder how many of those are still in scalper hands.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. There were so many stories in the last like 6 to 8 months about
Mm-hmm.
scalpers now having to like liquidate this shit at like
Yep.
well below market price because it's like, oh shit, this shit's in stores now, and
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
bought like pallets of the shit thinking this was going to last for fucking ever, like an asshole. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Good luck with that, dickhead.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, I do wonder how many of those are still in scalper hands and how much that. Hmm.
Yeah, that
It will.
we know
Mm-hmm.
anecdotally there were quite a few of those consoles being bought up in large amounts by
Yep.
third-party sellers and
Mm-hmm.
resellers hoping to make a buck.
Yep.
So I would be more curious now as to like how does that play into it? Obviously, I think we talked about this like a long time ago that
Mm-hmm.
there's more consoles in the hands of actual people using them than in the hands of scalpers at some point. I think that was something we actually mentioned. It came up on the show like a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
probably within like the first
Yeah.
because
I
people
would
were,
guess it's that way, but obviously there's no hard data on it.
yeah, I don't know how well I mean, you could look at sales versus how many Sony could look at how many consoles have sold versus how many are actually connected to the fucking internet or have
Yeah,
logged
like
into the internet.
active PSN users or something like that.
Yeah. How many have actually connected to the fucking internet one time? Or unique PS5s that connect to internet at least once? That would probably tell you, because that would... And I have no doubt that fucking Sony has that data. I don't feel like that's difficult data to have.
I'm sure, yeah.
A subsequent report that came out the same day, Sony drops full year PS5 sales target to 21 million units. Expect shipments decline from the next year. Now, I think there's a lot of reasons for this. Obviously, I think one of the bigger reasons is I don't know. Do we have anything currently? Like, I know we have like 7 Remake. 7 Rebirth. That's going to be that potentially could be a console seller. I don't know. I mean, I think some of the best games that sell consoles are also the ones that get bundled with the console. Those tend to do really well, right? Your God of War Ragnarok, your Spider-Man 2s, the things that get physical bundles.
Yeah. One reason why they put the sales target down is very likely that they announced themselves that there's not going to be a major title release for the next fiscal year. So that's from now until April next year.
Ooh. Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Ah.
No major titles. So no big title like God of War or Horizon or something like that.
Yeah,
those titles are at least a year away.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, we haven't had anything.
General,
we haven't had anything announced that would have even remotely been able to come out this year. Closest thing I could think of that we know of was like Wolverine, but we don't know anything about that fucking video game. So,
besides what was leaked, but yeah.
Right. So, I mean,
we don't really know the state of that currently and what they've targeted there, and they might have delayed it due to the leak. And otherwise, God of War, there couldn't be a major release there on realistically, because the next title would need some development time. Spider-Man just came out. Horizon still needs some time, obviously. That's not that old, so that's going to need more than a year. And otherwise, well, I mean, another Last of Us would still take quite an amount of time, because they still have a few remaster and remake releases of that to do.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, fair enough.
They still need to meet the quota on that.
Yeah.
And on the Sony front, that's not surprising that they don't have anything there, so that would logically follow a decrease in sales there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Fuck it. I'll do it.
All right.
Embracer, because I can't keep you the fuck out of the fucking show. I don't want to. All right, so
just one more small comment on the Sony front that I just popped back in my head. This might also in part be a sort of down payment for the whole we put all our things in the bag of live service games and moved away from that again.
Yeah, probably.
That means they're gonna take longer to release the next titles if they move away from that and switch development.
They really wanted to follow through on that bet for live service. Turns out that maybe wasn't gonna pan out, and then they were like, well, shit, we gotta fucking refocus back on what we do best.
Yeah, And that, if any
I
of
will
those titles would have released in that year, that's out of the question now.
I will say I
Mhm.
don't have that many PS5 games, surprisingly enough. Not many.
I'm, to be perfectly honest, I'm not that surprised.
Yeah, yeah, I have a
We've all
handful.
seen the talk about the exclusive PS5 title list being so short, so
Yeah, and it's probably a little
there's
shorter
that.
for me just because I don't really buy into a lot of the games
Hmm.
that Sony's pushing heavily. So,
Yeah,
the
that too.
really like I'm gonna pick up Dragon's Dogma 2 when that comes out because that's gonna
Hmm.
be fucking dope as shit. But
Hmm.
I mean, let's be realistic for a second. That's not really gonna. I don't think that's gonna be moving fucking consoles, right? Like, I don't.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, that's not. You know what I mean? Like, that's not gonna be something that's gonna get people to go out and spend money on a console. So,
Yeah. If
uh,
anything, it's gonna be the people that already played the first one. They might buy a console if they don't have it yet. But
right.
besides that, hmm, unlikely.
All right. So, Embracer Group has been speed running bad public sentiment
Hmm.
this year, if not the
Hmm.
last year. That's not if not the last 6 months or so, given
Yeah.
some of their more dubious choices that they've made. Everything from buying up all sorts of IPs to
Hmm.
then putting all their eggs in a basket on a deal that did not pan out to now basically trying to liquidate and cut costs wherever possible to make this all make sense with all the shit they purchased, and that they
Hmm.
still haven't managed to actually actualize in any way, shape, or form realistically. Like, I think they've dropped. I think they put. I think we've seen some things come out from them, but for the most part, they haven't
Oh yeah,
really.
there have been quite a few releases from
Yeah,
them.
there's been
That's
releases, but
not the
they.
big issue there.
Yeah, they
They
just.
have a good income flow. That's not the big issue here. The big issue is that they have a massive amount of projects in development which take money to support.
Right.
But they did have quite a few releases, and there's already a few more on the corner, like Outcast, Alone in the Dark, that one, and probably several others I can't think of right now. But title releases aren't that big of a problem. It's more they have had a few busts there, like Saints Row, which couldn't have been cheap and probably didn't make that money back,
I. I.
or at least
I.
didn't make as much money
They.
back as
Well,
they
I
would have needed.
also think. I also think that
Hmm.
the game came out was a giant turd and was
Yep.
such a colossal turd that
Hmm.
it didn't even seem worth to try to like fundamentally fix, which
Yeah.
is never a good sign, right? Like, a game can
Hmm.
come out with problems, and depending on the perspective, you
Yeah.
might
If it's
be able
just
to fix
bugs,
it.
technical issues, the like, then yeah, you can fix those usually. But if the problem is deeper in the design and
Yeah.
the characters, the story, and all that,
Yeah, not much. Yeah,
that's a
not much.
problem.
Yeah, not much you're fixing with that shit. You can't.
Nope.
You can't fix
Yeah.
foundational issues. That's not a thing. I mean,
Yeah. That's why I think they essentially just canned it after releasing the promised DLC stuff that was part of the pre-order. So, and after that, I don't think anything more came out besides maybe bug fixes. But yeah, I mean, Volition is pretty much done.
yeah. According to the article, Embracer isn't done laying people off. We learned that the company
Hmm.
still has a few large structure divestment processes ongoing in the
Hmm.
mature phases. So we should look forward to seeing more talk of layoffs and
Yeah.
staff cuts. Which, I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, it makes sense, man. Like the amount of people and staff and assets you guys purchased And then if you guys apparently just banked it all on one investment that doesn't pan out, yeah, you're gonna have to cut somewhere. Like that's how it goes. This is why you probably shouldn't sink. You probably shouldn't sink so much of your eggs into a single investment. I think I'm not a financial manager, but I normally would say you might want to diversify a little bit in your.
I mean, they did diversify. The problem is that others didn't want to invest in them.
That too.
That was the big issue, but
this
they
has
just
led
bought too much.
So Embracer has laid off 8% of its employees. So I mean, 8% by and large isn't. I guess when you
percentage-wise, it doesn't seem that
it doesn't
much. But
seem
if you
that
consider
big.
how many people they employ overall,
that's a pretty.
The absolute number is quite a significant number.
8%. We always talk about on this show about perspective when someone just says like 8%.
Yeah.
Or some
the
percentage.
Absolute numbers are in the article. In Q2 last year it was 904. In Q3 another 483, and then there's some more in January and February this year.
Jesus, so they've gotten rid of just shy of almost 1,500.
Yeah,
close.
Probably they're probably 1,500 is probably where they are now counting in January and February. That's probably around that amount, yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of people, but it's also only 8%, so that tells me that
that tells you how many they have.
Yeah, that's huge. 8%, 1,500 is 8%. Jesus. Which story was it when we talked about they like doubled their staff or 5 times they 5x their staff, and me and you both looked at that story and went, "What the fuck? You 5x'd your staff?"
Yeah. As of last year, they had 16,600 people. So yeah, that's something.
16,000 people. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, they bought up quite a lot, and it's not just game development stuff. It's also Dark Horse Comics and some other merchandise-related stuff.
Good
but
Lord.
They have a lot.
Shit. Yeah, no joke. Shit.
I mean, the Embracer Group is really, the name is very fitting.
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with the title. I think it fits. Let's do Disco Elysium. So Disco Elysium has been in a fucked situation. The Disco Elysium developer,
the developers at least, yeah.
The developers have been in a fucked situation since what, last year? We've heard they were having trouble early last year. It's been a while. Like, this isn't like us knowing that they've been having trouble is nothing new. The developer has officially confirmed the cancellation of a game in development and resulting layoffs of part of its workforce. Damn.
They've had problems for quite some time. I think might not even have been starting last year, maybe even the year before. Because, I mean, Disco Elysium came out 2019. That's already been quite some time.
Oh, yeah, good point. The initial report alleged that around 24 employees are at risk of redundancy. This wasn't that big of a staff, right? They weren't that big of a.
Zaum isn't that big of a developer, but they do have, I think, quite a few. Let me check if there's some official numbers there.
We are approaching this sensitive issue with the utmost care and respect. We will be initiating a formal redundancy consultation procedure with employees who are at risk of redundancy in accordance with UK law. If you're one of these employees, you will very shortly receive a Slack message, email, and calendar update for a meeting with your lead and HR to discuss the next steps. Damn. Better check your email, ladies and gentlemen. If they're saying check your email, you might be on the list. Oh, that feels bad. And I'm not even in the company. Like reading that just makes me feel a sense of fucking dread. Oh, that sucks. Feels bad, man. Feels fucking bad.
Apparently that's about 25% of their workforce.
Jesus.
So they've definitely expanded. If that's 24 people, or 20, what was it? 24 people around. Yeah, 24 employees. So they've had, I think 35 were developing in-house on Disco Elysium. So they must have expanded quite a bit since then. Because if that's a fourth, then they were at around 100 employees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they've grown quite a bit, and I don't think they've really released anything since Disco Elysium.
No.
They've just been working on new stuff.
Yeah.
Not released anything. That's
tough.
Well, I mean, they managed to keep going this long, so I guess Disco Elysium really did put them in a good place, but they didn't really make good on that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they did too well on that front, man. Doesn't seem like they did too well. And in really shitty news, Suikoden and Eiyuden Chronicle creator Yoshitaka Murayama has passed away. The creator of he was dealing with complications from an ongoing illness just before the debut of Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. Damn, that's tough.
Yeah, it's a shame. The timing is really a shame.
That's tough.
I mean, it's a shame anyway that he passed away.
Yeah, but you know what though? Like, I think every creator wants to see what they create come to fruition.
They want to see the reaction. They want to see the reaction from the fans.
Yeah, and I feel
I would have really liked him to see that before this happened, but it's really a shame.
Eiyuden Chronicles is one of the handful of games I've ever actually wanted to help kickstart. There aren't a lot of games. There aren't a lot of Kickstarter projects in general that I would even want to kickstart, just because I have my feelings about the Kickstarter model in general. But Eiyuden Chronicles just had something about it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it come out. And if you go to their stretch goals page, holy shit,
they've done a lot. And we're gonna see the result in April.
Yeah, we're gonna see everything they've put into this game and all their hard work come to fruition in April. So that is tragic.
Yeah.
But I could tell you, man, fucking when illness sneaks up on you, man, and that shit gets the better of you, dude, that shit happens. That's unfortunate, but sometimes, man, that shit sneaks up on you, and next thing you know, you're taking out the game like that. So that's a tragedy right there.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely do believe this is going to be super successful when it drops. I hope it's going to reignite a lot of interest back into Suikoden. Or, Konami, you could just release the fucking remasters of 1 and 2.
I mean,
like you've been holding on to. So
they're working on it. They just said they had to push it back, probably due to they just didn't get it done in time. But from what
I
I know,
hope
they're still
so.
working on it.
I hope
Mm-hmm.
so, because I really would like me some Suikoden on my
Mm-hmm.
Switch before I have to go under the knife. I don't think I'll get so lucky as to have it before then, but I'd really appreciate that. That would be great. Do me
Mm-hmm.
a favor.
Yeah.
Cut me a goddamn break. So
Mm,
yeah, that's harsh. That's
yeah.
unfortunate. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. You know, I didn't feel good about knowing that someone like Soken was in the hospital with fucking cancer while he was also writing music for 14,
Mm.
which
Yeah.
okay. So I admittedly still kind of meme about that because not
Mm-hmm.
because I think cancer's funny, but because Soken just strikes me as the kind of musical guy who someone would come to probably fucking visit him in the hospital, and they'd be like, hey man, how you doing? How you feeling? And he'd be like, bro, listen, I need you to listen to this sick ass fucking bass line I came up with, dude. This shit is fucking tasty. You know what I mean? Like, bro, shouldn't you be relaxing? Bro, check this shit out.
Yeah,
Bro,
wouldn't surprise me.
what do you call that? I call it the edge. What? Yeah. It's gonna be fucking dope. So yeah, that's tough. But just to remind people about Euden Chronicles, it's slated for release on April 23rd, 2024. It's slated for PS5, PS4, Xbox.
Pretty much for
I do
everything
mean all
current
of
and
them.
last gen.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everything. It's coming out for everything except your mobile phones, ladies and gentlemen. You have no excuse.
Yeah. And even there, you could probably stream it.
Yeah. Even then, you could probably still fucking play the fucking game. You have no excuse. There is no reason. You can play
Yeah.
this.
The trailers looked really interesting, really nice. So yeah.
So, I'm very much looking forward to it, and my
Mm-hmm.
condolences. That's
Yeah.
God, as a
And
creator,
did it
that
have that smaller prequel title? I think it
yeah,
was
it
called The
did.
Euden Chronicles Rising, something like that.
Yeah, they had a
Which,
smaller
yeah,
title.
that one was
They
apparently pretty
dropped.
charming and nice.
They dropped for it. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, shit, dude. I
Yeah,
didn't think I
so
was actually going to get through the story list for this episode.
mm,
Wasn't actually planning on that. That wasn't
we made a
now
speed run through the news.
now I'm sitting here at an hour and I'm like, fuck, that was not what I was not
Mhm.
like I have plans. I don't have plans. Not like I have
Mhm.
somewhere to fucking be, CD. I don't have that. That's not a thing today. Shit.
Mhm.
I don't want to like end at an hour, but I don't know if I have anything else for you, ladies and gentlemen. Which is a shame. I usually have some kind of fucking stupid ass tangent for me to talk about to fill 15 minutes because I'm full of fucking brain worms and that shit just gets everywhere. Ah.
Ah.
I will say I will say now more than ever I don't
Mhm.
this is like such a weird thing for me to bring up because I've been doing like a little bit more PC gaming on the
Mhm.
side lately, like just playing certain games with my friends on PC. I don't usually go in
Mhm.
on PC gaming too often, but I will say having used an Xbox controller and then switched over to
Mhm.
just using a DualSense controller on PC.
Mhm.
Look, if you tied me up and sat me
Mhm.
down, put a gun to my head and said, pick between an Xbox controller or a PS5 controller, I
Mhm.
don't know if I'd be able to pick. They're both really comfortable.
Mhm. Yeah.
They both are incredibly comfortable controllers for me.
Mhm.
The
Yeah, that's true.
only reason I'd still pick PlayStation is I think
Mhm.
just because I know the buttons, like X, circle, X,
Yeah.
square, triangle, like that kind of thing?
As long as the games support all the prompts in that way, then yeah, that's definitely a certainly fine choice. And personally, my favorite currently is still the Xbox Elite, the second one, the newest. That one's still my favorite personally, but also mainly because it does have the triggers at the back, the additional paddles. I mean,
Okay, so
but if I would be granted a wish, then I would just say, Valve, release a new Steam controller. Just take the controls from the Steam Deck, remove the display and everything in between, put that together and release it.
yeah, that could be pretty
That
cool.
would be the best.
That would be really good. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that would work. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to accuse you of impropriety or anything like that, but
Mm-hmm.
is your pick of the Xbox controller because it's because you really enjoy it, because you spend a bunch of money on it. Now you kind of feel that sunk costs problem of like,
No,
it's a good
for
controller, but I
me,
also spent a fuck ton on it, so I gotta get my.
it's I definitely need the additional paddles because I use shortcuts to add to that.
Ah,
I use
okay,
the back
yeah,
paddles
fair.
for regular games. I do screenshots with that. For emulators, I do quick load, quick save, stuff like that on there. I just want that extra comfort. And other
Yeah,
controllers don't have that.
yeah.
Or some that aren't as costly might have the additional things, but not in that quality. Because the Elite is higher quality than the regular controllers. Just definitely.
Oh yeah, no, hands down,
But
hands
and
down.
and the Xbox One, in contrast to, for example, the DualSense Edge, is still on a decent price range. The DualSense Edge is just out of this world in regards to that.
Oh, and as far as price goes, how much is the dual? I'm sorry, I haven't been paying that much. I don't pay attention to the high
Let me
end
check what's the
control,
current price. The
the
DualSense
high
Edge
end.
for us is $229.
Jesus,
Yep. And
bruh.
let's check on the Xbox Elite Series 2. That one's around 150, which is pricey, but for me it's worth it because
That's
it lasts me quite a long time in terms of durability. It has the option of a good, really nice lifespan for the battery. It's not one of those short 8 to something hours battery life. It's I think it's not quite up there with the Switch Pro controller in terms of battery life, but it's I think around 40 hours from what I know. But I mainly use it cable attached anyway. I
uh
don't have a problem with that. But that would be a good thing for that. Additionally, it has the options of I can exchange um, the thumbsticks and the D-pad. I can exchange that for what I prefer. They get you have the option of having either the disc for the D-pad or the regular D-pad, like the Nintendo style one. And the thumbsticks you can also adjust to be um, less or more flexible, which is nice. And you can change the triggers to have more or less way. Like you can switch them from being able to pull them back all the way, or they stop at I think 2/3 and a third, something like that. You have
right, right,
three different
right.
settings. And the quality of the material in general seems quite nice with the Elite. So
And
that's why it's been pretty much my favorite for regular controllers.
and I totally believe you. But
Mm-hmm.
every single function you mentioned, I just went, ah, man, I would
Yeah, for
never.
you, it's obviously not for everyone. No, not
Yeah,
everyone needs
I
that.
just. I
But
don't like
yeah.
I've always really been interested in these higher end
Mm-hmm.
controllers, if just for the build quality of them to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm sitting
Mm-hmm.
there like, Jesus, you
Hmm.
real like Jesus, man. I don't
Mm-hmm.
$200 for a control. But then it's like you know what? If
For
I
the
was
Xbox, it isn't 200, but yeah, for the for the
well,
DualSense, it would be.
what I'm trying to say is like if I
Mm-hmm.
was like that deep in
Mm-hmm.
like something that would like even take remote advantage of those kind of controllers, that
Mm-hmm.
to that $175 cost probably
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. It's probably not that big of a deal. It's like if you're that invested in like your Call of Duties or some other games that might actually utilize a lot of
Yeah.
those functions, that's
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't it's a it's a
I
cost,
mean,
but
it's pretty much like with what the fight stick stuff. There's also costlier and cheaper stuff there. All
yeah,
everything
yeah,
there has its target market. Some for some the cheaper one is enough. For some, you go with the costlier one
yeah.
because you want to modify it and all that.
My fight stick, I think I paid like 94, which is
Hmm.
huge these days, considering just like 5 or 6 years ago, you would have
Mm-hmm.
spent triple that if you just wanted to
Yeah.
like start using a fight stick just to get
Mm-hmm.
in on the ground floor of having a fight stick. You're talking 3 times that
Mm-hmm.
amount just to even be like, I want to use a fight
Yeah.
stick. Yeah, pay up, chump.
Mm-hmm.
$230
Yeah, and those were
clocks.
yeah, and those were probably also the not the higher end models.
Yeah, well, no, the some of the ones that like the ones that people were like the most likely to buy,
Mm-hmm.
because okay, so the mentality then has always kind of just been if you're gonna buy it, you might as well buy
Mm-hmm.
like a Mad
Ah, okay. So
Catz
it was
or
like you only had the better models available and the
yeah,
cheaper they didn't
basically
make.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't
Yeah,
you didn't
okay,
really
that makes
have
sense as well.
the cheaper
Mm-hmm.
option. You
Yeah,
had the
because they didn't make
options.
sense for the manufacturer because not enough people were buying them anyway.
Yeah, if you have such a
Mm-hmm.
small market of people actually fucking buying the fucking things, you're not gonna spend your money to
Yeah, true.
try to appeal to a market that just doesn't exist. But I'd
Mm-hmm.
also make the argument that a market can't exist unless you create a product that caters to it.
Well,
Kinda
well,
like
the
because
thing is, I think the thing there is more that you have to have enough of a target audience, but because people have to probably go into the fighting game circuit first before they're even interested in the fight sticks.
that's fair. That's
So if you have more players there, like with Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8 now, um, what was it, King of Fighters 15,
yeah,
whatever else there is currently, I think those games were the pull. And then the fight stick manufacturer said, okay, now the audience is big enough. Now we can make the cheaper things to
yeah.
get them
Now
even more invested in the whole thing. And then probably due to that, more people went in there as well. But I think it's
yeah.
usually the games that pull them in first.
Yeah, well, I think it was Iwata that said software is what drives.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah, software
software.
is what drives hardware sales.
Yeah, software drives hardware sales. No one really
Mm-hmm.
cares about your super fancy, fucking expensive, powerful box if there's nothing to fucking do on
Yep.
it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Wise words spoken far too soon in this fucking industry that probably should have been taken more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say, and this has been something I've enjoyed. So I've kind of just enjoyed seeing a lot of these games now come out. Like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, a lot of reviews drop for Skull and Bones, and that's been
Uh-huh.
that. Remember that
Ah,
quadruple?
yes, quadruple A gaming.
Yeah,
Fun.
that quadruple A game that we were all
Mhm.
going to praise as being a monument to a testament to its time.
Mhm. I don't know which content creator it was, but apparently someone made a review of the game, but made it like he had a video background on the material was just the game playing. He was praising, he was doing all praising a game, and then at the end it was like, oh, what's Skull and Bones? No, no. Oh, what I was talking was Black Flag.
Yeah, yeah. Which makes
Because Black Flag has better features and is better than Skull and Bones, apparently. So good job
which
there, Ubisoft.
which I can't fathom how you do it. I can't
Mm-hmm.
fathom like we're not talking about like two different devs that both want to make a
Yeah, well,
pirate game.
mm, I mean, it might as well be two different devs because the one was Ubisoft somewhere, and this one was Ubisoft Singapore.
Okay, maybe it is basically two. But like somebody must have played Black Flag in that. Someone must have been aware of Black
Um,
Flag on that team, right?
well, aware of maybe. Played it? I think that might be a stretch.
That's a Oh wow, you think so?
Um, yeah,
Oh, cool. Okay.
because I, I don't
I I
think
don't I don't think
they
I don't.
they would have made a better game in that case.
Yeah, that's my point. Like I don't think you could have played Black Flag and then go to make
Yeah.
Skull and Bones and not at some
Well,
point.
some of the devs, the lower rungs, might have played Black Flag, but I
Oh,
don't
but
think anyone at the higher
yeah,
level,
nobody
the
that mattered.
designers, the
Yeah.
project managers, none of those.
How do you have a
None
pirate
of the
game?
people that had actual something to say in the development of the game.
How do you
I
have
think none of those.
how do you have a pirate game with no with no like on foot combat or no
Um,
shipboarding combat or like
Let me ask a better question.
oh
How
god.
do you have a pirate game where you don't go onto the enemy ships and fight, but you just pull them in and open them like you would a chest in another game? How the
I
hell do you do that?
well, see, I think that's you do that with millions of dollars of contractual obligation and mismanaged
Mm-hmm.
funds.
Yep. And you call
Grossly.
that a quadruple A game?
Well, okay, Yves Gomon called it a quadruple A game. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
anybody who reviews this shit is going to go. I don't think anyone who has played this game is going to go. Oh yes, triple A, quadruple A gaming at its finest, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, it's the only example of quadruple A gaming so far, so you
Oh, it's
might as well
true.
call
Oh
it
yeah,
that.
you're right. We don't have. This was the first
This is the
quadruple
best
A.
quadruple A game
Yeah,
ever.
this is.
I
Is
mean,
that
you
fair?
could rate this a 25 out of 100 and still call it that.
It's the first quadruple A game of its kind. Of course, it's the best quadruple A. There's nothing else to
Yep,
compare it to. There's no
exactly.
comparison here. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. We will see you all next time. As always, you can find our podcast on a variety of platforms: Google, Apple, and Spotify, and on our YouTube channel, the turn-based Cynics. I'm not going to give any promises outside of that. That's the best you're getting.
Yeah.
That is the most promise I can give you is that we
No
exist on
predictions
those.
on our part.
Yeah, that we exist on those platforms. And that's as far as I'm going to say for now. I have no other promises to give you. So I'm going to probably spend the rest of my day. I'm actually gonna go eat. I'm fucking starving. Not gonna lie to you.
That's a good choice.
Fucking starving, dude. fucking starving out here. I'm gonna fucking eat and probably play some more Persona 3 or Animal Crossing or play
Good.
something. I don't know. Too many fucking games, not enough fucking time. In any case,
Yeah.
everybody, we will see you all next time on this lovely show. Have a fantastic week.
See ya.
I make no promises for the quality of this show at any given point in time.
Release schedule? What schedule?
We are in fact a quadruple A podcast.
A quadruple A podcast.
We are a quadruple A podcast. And who are you to judge? Who are you to say so otherwise? You're not a quadruple A podcast. You're not able to properly rate the show. You're not quadruple A.
And in contrast to Skull and Bones, we don't even need government subsidies.
They took all that. I don't know, man. It's like you waste all that fucking
And
money.
that's pretty much the only reason why that game ever got released.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the contractual obligation, I don't think this game was gonna come out.
They would have shit canned that years ago.
So Baldur's Gate 3, before I go, dropped an update. Their most recent update.
The kissing update.
Yeah, well, that's not the thing I wanted to talk about. They updated that if you use alcohol to sustain a long rest, so during a long rest you have to pick what supplies you use. If you only use alcohol, you get the hungover status effect the next day for obvious reasons. And I was like,
makes sense.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Can't say I'm surprised. In the group game that we're doing, we had this situation where